Hello folks, my name is Ray Samuels. I'm the co-founder of the highly acclaimed program, How to Win in Challenging Times with G.R.O.W, a framework for well-being. First of all, I want to thank all of you for your great appreciation, participation, and comments that you shared in my last video. So let me ask you, have you ever struggled through a challenging life event? Do you know that research suggests that 90% of people will have at least one challenge in their lifetime? Have you ever wondered why some people can bounce back from hardships? Do you feel confident that you could persevere in the face of a personal or professional setback? Let me ask you, do you want to learn some simple tools, techniques, and habits to increase your well-being? Well, based on the science of positive psychology, this is possible. In this video, I'm going to share with you a framework that I developed, which is based on positive psychology. The framework is called the G.R.O.W framework. It came about because I was experiencing my own life challenges, personally and professionally. I reached out to others who were also coping with their own life challenges. I was interested to know, how did they manage through their challenging times? In this video, I'm going to share with you how a good friend and I have both used the G.R.O.W framework. So let me ask you, have you ever heard of positive psychology? The natural question is, what is positive psychology? First of all, it is the fastest growing area in the field of psychology. It is the study of what makes life worth living, or how people flourish. It's about finding ways to increase our well-being based on research. It's not a part of the New Age or self-help movement or just being happy. This is unrealistic. Traditional psychology looks at what is wrong with people, whereas positive psychology looks at what's right with us. Or in other words, not what's wrong, but what makes us strong. Our strengths are just as important as our weaknesses. Positive psychology does not replace traditional psychology, but complements it. It gives people tools and techniques that allow us to manage the ups and the downs of life, and makes us bulletproof for emotional challenges. The goal is not to wait for a crisis, but to address things before we hit bottom using these tools. I believe that it's the fastest growing area of psychology because people want simple strategies that can increase their well-being. So what is well-being? It means experiencing positive emotions such as optimism, joy, inspiration, gratitude, finding meaning and purpose in our lives, having supportive personal connections with others, fulfilling our potential and achieving goals. In the last year, I spent many hours researching positive psychology by reading books, blogs, and articles, viewing videos, and watching webinars. What was most profound were my discussions with people who had grown through their own challenging times, and the powerful commonalities such as their ability to be grateful no matter what, their resilience, and their optimistic outlook on life. The result of that work is what I call the G.R.O.W framework. What I've learned is uplifting, useful, and has increased my well-being. I believe that with the right tools, techniques, actions, and habits, better well-being is possible. All of this work resulted in the G.R.O.W framework. This is what I want to share with you, so you can apply it in your own life. By applying the G.R.O.W framework to all the aspects of my life, I'm more self-aware, I understand how to set and achieve goals, I know that I'm resilient and optimistic, and I've achieved personal and professional growth. And really important to me, I have a greater sense of well-being. Let me tell you about the G.R.O.W framework. It's an easy to remember but powerful framework. The framework is available as a PDF download below this video. Let me explain. Gratitude. Gratitude is the thankful appreciation for what we have received. It is derived from the Latin word gratia, meaning grace, graciousness, or gratefulness. Resilience. It's the recovery from setbacks, the quality of bouncing forward, and the ability to cope with ongoing changes in life. Optimism. It is looking at challenges, failures, and setbacks in ways that increase our hope, persistence, and well-being. Willpower. It's the ability to resist short-term temptations to attain long-term goals. It is the capacity to override an unwanted thought, feeling, or impulse. As a result of applying the G.R.O.W framework, I believe that you will become more confident in your abilities to grow through your own challenges, whether they're personal or professional, as a parent, teacher, coach, student, business owner, or simply as a person who's struggling and wants to live life fully and positively affect those people around us. Let me share my story. I've been a successful entrepreneur since I was a teenager. I've been blessed with success. However, success has not made me immune to difficult and challenging life events. People might assume that having personal wealth would guarantee happiness and solve all my problems. While it is true that I was able to enjoy many things because of hard work, which led to success, but business disputes and costly lawsuits, personal health issues, and tragedy that struck my family made me realize that money could never buy what I needed to help me through these difficult periods in my life. They say things happen in threes, and I can tell you this is true for me. When I was recovering from surgery back a few years ago, I was asked by my managing partner to meet with him at the office. I'd asked to defer the meeting as I was not fully recovered and I was a little bit under the weather. He said, no, Ray, you got to come. It's important. It's really urgent that you come to the office. So I made my way to the office, only to find out that my services as a co-founder of the company, my services were no longer required. In essence, I was fired. That's right. I was fired. I was fired from a company that I founded. If you've ever been fired or know someone who's been fired, you can understand how upsetting and demoralizing this is. Just when I thought the worst was over, the managing partner served me with a lawsuit, despite our close working relationship for 20 plus years. This legal issue caused considerable amount of stress and financial hardship that lasted more than 3 years. I believe the ongoing stress contributed to my health issues. I was unable to fight off a bacterial infection that lasted more than a year, which became so serious that it threatened my life. Finally, I talked about things happening in threes. This is the third. Finally, this last event has been the most devastating. Sadly, my brother took his own life at the age of 48. He poured gasoline on himself while he was in his vehicle, and he lit himself on fire. We know this to be called death by suicide. I believe that my brother took his own life to ease the pain. This tragic event has had significant impact on my family and me personally. His death caused unimaginable grief in my family and to other loved ones. Healing is taking a long time. I've never really gotten over my brother's death. But what I can tell you, I've learned that it's important to move forward, even through such pain and loss. The ability to overcome personal and professional challenges and prepare myself for future challenges has required deep, deep reflection. So, how do you move on? How does one move on? That's the question that I asked myself. I've discovered that having gratitude, resilience, optimism, and willpower, the G.R.O.W framework, has enabled me to move through challenging times and prepare myself for unforeseen future obstacles. Applying this framework has yielded a better me and led to an increase in my well-being. It hasn't always been easy. What I learned from adversity is that I am strong even in the face of challenges and setbacks. This is the message that I want to share with you. Although I've experienced significant success in my professional life, I felt a deep longing to live my true passion and share my message of growth after adversity, bring more meaning to my life and the lives of others. I believe that this is my true purpose. I want to inspire you to persevere through your own challenging times. I've personally been able to grow through several difficult events, and I want to share with you my message of hope with you. You can do it. Let me share with you a story of a personal friend of mine who's applied this framework of gratitude, resilience, optimism, and willpower to his life with remarkable success. His name is Nav. I met him 15 years ago. He's better known as the Toronto Raptors superfan. The Toronto Raptors is a team in the National Basketball League, the NBA. Nav, he's never missed a home game in 20 years. And he's been to more than 800 games. And whether the games are at home in Toronto or away in Indiana or away in Cleveland or away in Miami, Nav is there. So who is this Nav Batshak guy? Nav and his wife came to Canada more than 30 years ago. Like many newcomers to Canada, they've struggled in their early years. They lived in a basement apartment near the Toronto airport and worked several jobs even though in his native country he was an engineer. Gratitude. Nav shows his gratitude in many ways. He generously brings people to basketball games as his guest. He specifically brings people who do not have the financial means to attend the games. Nav believes that when people are in a position to help someone else, they must do so. Nav says that giving back to others has been key in adjusting as a newcomer to Canada, and doing so has brought him tremendous joy. Resilience. Nav will tell you that his first job in this country was cleaning toilets. He believes that we should take pride in any work that we happen to do. He's not bitter about being an engineer in his old country, about having to come to this country and starting to clean toilets to support his family. Nav eventually got a job selling cars and later became the manager of the dealership for the place that he was cleaning the toilets. On the day of his promotion, the day that his promotion was, he came and it was announced that, hey, listen, Nav's going to be the new guy in town. Nav's going to be running this dealership. Guess what? There's a number of people on the staff, not just a number of people, the whole staff, they quit. They did not want to work for him. You know why? Because he was a Sikh. He wore a turban. He was different from them. Optimism. Nav's message is that we should never lose hope. Things can get better. Even during the toughest of times, you got to keep going. Even if you're being treated rudely, be the better person. Nav insists that people should always break out of their comfort zones and meet people from other cultures. When I go to restaurants with Nav or I go to the game, Nav makes it his purpose to make sure that he's shaking hands and kissing babies with all. Make an effort to meet someone who's different from you. Everyone benefits. Surround yourself with positive people because negativity, I'll tell you, it is deadly. Willpower. Find people who support your goals and dreams. In Nav's case, he did not let anything deter him, despite all the staff quitting. The whole staff. He persevered. Today, Nav, the Raptors superfan, owns 2 Hyundai dealerships and is one of the most successful dealerships in all of Canada. And besides the fact he's a recognized superfan in the NBA. I think Nav is a great example of how gratitude, resilience, optimism, and willpower can be applied together as a winning combination. So you must be thinking, maybe you think that it's too difficult for you to think about change or increase your well-being right now. I honor that. You might be thinking that you have not had a challenging life event, so what I'm saying does not apply to you. Unfortunately, research suggests that 90% of people will experience a challenge in their lifetime. It's important to remember that it's not about the event, but it's how it affects us. For instance, you may not have lost a sibling or lost your job, but you may have lost a pet or a dear friend, or had a relationship end, or failed an important exam. These are events that affect us and may lead us to pessimistic thoughts or thinking that we can't go on. But we can go on. Let me explain how. I've applied the G.R.O.W framework in my life after the loss of my brother. So let's start with G in the letter G.R.O.W, the G.R.O.W framework. G stands for gratitude. Gratitude is the thankful appreciation for what we have received. I vividly recall thinking how grateful I was when people from my workplace, who didn't even know my brother, came to pay their respects. I can tell you today who those individuals were, because this experience had a significant impact on my life. Today, I make it a point to support those who've lost loved ones. So, can we cultivate gratitude? Absolutely. Most studies in gratitude support a connection between gratitude and a person's well-being. It can be cultivated. It can be cultivated further. Let's look at the letter R in the G.R.O.W framework, resilience. Can you develop resilience? Absolutely. New research suggests that personal resiliency is more widespread and teachable than previously thought. Everyone has the ability to be resilient. Dr. Ann Maston, an expert in the field, describes resilience as ordinary magic. Resilience isn't a rare quality found in a few extraordinary people. Resilience is the result of ordinary experiences. I've talked about challenges in my professional life, my job loss, the lawsuit, and my ability to bounce forward and become resilient. Although these events temporarily took away my ability to earn an income and impacted my life financially, these events did not make me waver in my belief that I could recover from these setbacks. O is for optimism. Optimism is looking at our challenges, failures, and setbacks in ways that increase our hope, persistence, and well-being. An optimist looks at the negative events as temporary. Even though I lost my job, I understood that this was a temporary situation. I did not let this event discourage me. Can you develop optimism? Absolutely. The best approach, becoming more optimistic, is to recognize and dispute pessimistic thoughts. This way of thinking has been developed throughout one's life, so optimism can be learned. The W. The W in the G.R.O.W framework is for willpower. It allows us to resist temptation, make good choices, and use self-control to achieve our goals. In the past, there were days when I just felt overwhelmed by everything going on. I didn't want to get up or get dressed. Just didn't want to do anything. However, I got up every morning and I continued on with my daily routine and the goals that I set out for myself. Other people were relying on me to do so, so I persevered. Can you develop your willpower? Absolutely. Willpower is much like a muscle, which can be stronger the more you use it. People give up not because they lack willpower, but because they feel overwhelmed by the enormity of their goals. People consistently report that a lack of willpower is the top reason they fall short of their goals. So maybe you're thinking that you wouldn't be able to get through your own personal adversity. Maybe you're going through a difficult time right now, or know someone who is. Maybe you just recently lost your job. Maybe you didn't get that promotion you were looking for. Maybe a valued relationship has come to an end. Maybe you believe that you're not resilient, but I have words for you. You are. You are resilient. You know my story. I just shared with you Nav's story. So you know what I want to know? I want to know, what's your story? Can you relate to our stories or of any of the examples that I've just shared with you today? My question is, do you want better well-being? Do you want to thrive? Do you want to live fully? If you do, listen to this. Here's the reality. Stuff happens. Whether it's in your life or my life, we're all going to have challenging times. It's like coming to a road and there's a fork in it, right? There'll be forks in the road for all of us. But there's two ways to take a look at the challenges. One is in a negative way and hope that things will resolve themselves eventually, possibly, maybe. Or we can look at the situation and find ways to keep going. So how do we do this? At the end of the day, We want to flourish. We want to experience joy and all that life has to offer. We cannot change an event, but we can change the way that we look at the event. A good example of this is a friend of mine who was going through breast cancer treatment. And I looked at her with a sense of awe because instead of feeling sorry for herself or saying, why me, why me? Why has life treated me so badly, she says. She's there and she was counting her blessings. She was reflecting on all the good things in her life. She made the choice to look at her life with gratitude or a positive mindset. So if you take this perspective and apply it to the fork in the road, you take the right path and you say, I need to bounce back from this. What are the lessons that can be learned and applied in the future? What have we learned about ourselves? Because even though we're going through challenges, if we want to increase our well-being, we have to take action. We just can't have increased well-being on our own. We just don't wake up and things are better just because they are. We have to be in the right mindset and we have to take action. We need to surround ourselves with people who inspire us and people who support us. These people help us take our empty fuel tank to a fuel tank that is on full. And when that tank is full, we're ready to go. We have bounced back. We are inspired by these individuals. And when this happens, people look to us as a source of their inspiration. Isn't that what we're all in search of? I know it is for me. So I encourage you to think about how the G.R.O.W framework of gratitude, resilience, optimism, and willpower can be applied in your own life. I encourage you to share this video with family and ask them to comment below. Please post your own comments as well. I want to personally thank you for listening and watching this video as I shared the G.R.O.W framework and how it was useful in managing my life events and how it could be beneficial to you. Until next time, be present, be grateful, and be well.